10-inch height. Which is up to here. I'm going to cut my top from there. I'm going to put a hook. I want to make a pocket inside, so this is the piece of cloth I want to stitch. Now so this is how it's going to be. So I have a bigger zip, I don't have a small one, so I'm going to try and stitch this here. So the mark is going to be, I'm going to do a marking. I'm going to stitch in the sewing machine both sides, these both sides. So I'm going to make a stitch here and here. Okay, now I marked this. I'm going to put the end marking. I'm going to do I'm going to sew these two edges, and I'll be right back when I stitch these two sides. Okay, now I finished stitching both sides. And on the other side, I'm going to cut a straight line. Cut here, and now I need to cut these two corners. turn this, put the end of the piece through the hole and get it on the other side. Also put this piece inside. So I'm going to iron these both sides so it will be neat. So iron the hole. See how this is going to be. It's going to be like this. I'll meet you after I iron and make this neat and tidy. Now I iron this. Like that. So now we are going to, this is the zip. I'm going to stitch. So put it over. Okay, now I'm going to machine stitch this edge here, here and this side, and I'll see you after that. Now I did my sewing. You can see the other side. What I did, I forget to sew this here in one go. I already stitched. Now you can only stitch this side and stitch both together, or you can stitch all and then go back and stitch this. I'm going to stitch this side and show you how, then only it will create, you will see it's a pocket there. So I'm going to stitch this with the zipper, then I'll show you. So now I finished the top part. You can see I stitched these together. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch these two pockets. These two sides of the pocket, and I'm not going to sew with this material. I'm going to sew only sew this up to here, then I will sew this separately. So now I finished sewing on the both sides. You can see, sew this pocket as well. Sew both sides. Now I'm going to sew these two sides. So I'm going to put this in the wrong side, so the right side will come inside the back. So we are going to sew the both sides in the wrong side of the material. Now I need to make sure I'm going to stitch the correct size. Let's measure the width, which is 11 inch. So I'm going to leave 11.5 inch on the width. So let's mark, let's make sure I have 11.5 inch. So I'm going to mark both sides. Like this side I'm going to stitch Same for the other side. This is 11.5. It will be here. It's just for your guideline. So I'm going to stitch both sides and I'll meet you after that. Okay, now I sew both sides. The next part is the corner. So we need to stitch the corner. To stitch the corner, we need to measure the base of the back. So this will be 3 inch. I would say 3 inch. No, actually, I'm going to take up to 2.5 inch. So 2.5 inch of the base. So let's measure 2.5 inch, which is from here to here. So I'm going to put a mark. I need to stitch the corner. So this side and the other side. I'm going to stitch both corners and I'll show you after I stitch. Now I finished stitching my corners, so I'll show you how this is going to look like. Okay, so now I'm going to put this in the back, so it will be the wrong side. Let's try and see how this is going to look like. So this is the side. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to stitch this end. So to stitch this end, I'm going to fold this and iron. I'm going to iron so it will be easy for me to stitch. Then I'll show you how I'm stitching the material with the back. Okay, now I iron the edges. I'm going to do the sewing. So this is the needle I have. So I'm going to start. I already did a knot in the edge. you can't see any stitch on the back. So go ahead, carry on, do the same stitch. On the back, and I'll meet you at this point. Now I finished stitching on the edges, and the zip.